supposedly sitting here for a few years, God knows only how long. I didn't really expect this. Oh, hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Willie's Workshop. Today we've got something a little surprise for you, something a little special. Not our regular content, but I think you'll enjoy it. So stick with me today as I take you on this little bit of a journey of ours. We've got something quite cool in here that hopefully we can rescue. Oh, there it is. Just wow. Would you look at that? A legendary Fiat 126. It's soul eaten by rust and time. The paint is a ghost of what it once was, and rust has definitely set in. For most people, this is just scrap metal, a lost cause, a story that is already over. We see the ghost of what it once was, a symbol of an affordable, fun, tiny car with a massive heart. And that got us thinking, what if there was one last fight left in this little girl? Today the goal is simple. Get this car reassembled and running before the end of the day when the sun goes down. It's going to somewhere it'll be loved, but there's just one catch. He needs this cleared out of his barn by the end of the day. And as you can see, the weather's not great today. Tonight is coming fast, so we only have one option, and that is to get this little car running. No fancy workshop, no weeks of work, just us, the tools in my bag, and one frantic day to see if we can get this up and running. That's it. That's the story. If we fail, we're going to be stranded out here or somewhere on the side of the road. No pressure, right? Alright, let's see if we can save this little thing. So let's take a closer look at what we've got here. What this is a little Fiat 126 Personal. I think it is this one, this exact model. There's an earlier model, that's for sure, and we'll be able to take a closer look at that in a moment. Now, what is a Fiat 126, you might ask? Well, most of you hopefully out there already know, because this is one of the most popular, affordable, fun little family cars that came out of the 70s and 80s. Now, what it was a replacement for that thing. That is one of the early models, Fiat 500s. Now, we're not buying that today. What we are getting up and running is this. So, Fiat 500 was a hugely popular car, which sold millions and millions of units around the world and has been remade and still sold today. What it was replaced with was with the 126, which people are less familiar with today, but there is still a lot of love for these, especially in Poland. The Polski, the Niki, Malak, it had a bunch of formal and informal names, but what we know it as is a Fiat 126. So yeah, it's not too bad, a quick walk around, you know, that's not a problem. 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 That's holding some air. That's not a problem. That, or I don't know about. Is that a problem? We'll see. And taking a look in the interior. Oh, well, it's actually pretty good in here. The interior, I mean, that's not a problem. Or that. This actually looks pretty decent. If I didn't know any better, we've got a working interior. But the goal of today is to see if we can get this up and running and driving, which means we're going to need to do some tinkering in here, find out if it works. And there are a bunch of spare parts, although I don't know how much we're going to get into those today. We've got enough doors to sink a ship. Boy, do we just love hoarding doors. But there is some air in all four tyres. There is an engine and what appears to be the shell of a car. So if I had to give our chances today, I would say it's at least higher than 0% of getting this up and running. Now the rain is coming down and it's only meant to get worse today. So it's about time we crack on into this to see if we can get it up and running. Otherwise we're going to be stranded here with a car that don't work. Alright, so this is where we crack on into a bit of the fun. So I guess to see if she starts today, we've got to check a few things. If any of you are aware, we need three basic things to get an engine running. Spark, oxygen, and fuel. Now, as far as I know, spark, we'll have to check. And for that, we brought a battery at least, so we'll have some power, but we're going to have to go through and test that that's all working. Second thing, oxygen. Now, hopefully there's not too much of a problem there, The carb, I don't know, hopefully it's working. In fact, I don't even know if I saw the carb on. The carb is there, it is on, it's just not hooked up to the air intake, so that's fine. A lovely pussycat around. And the last thing is fuel, so we're not too sure about the fuel situation here. Now the reason it was either parked up was because of A, there was a fuel delivery problem, or B, he seems to remember that it could have possibly been a brake line. Now I think in terms of fuel, that's quite easy. We can shortcut the fuel today. We can rig up a jerry can and get us on our way home. Brake lines, well, that's something I'm less equipped for today, so I'm really hoping that that's not the case. Although he seemed to think that was more likely than the fuel. So we're going to have our work cut out for us today. First things first, I think we crack on in and see if we've got any power in this thing. Then we'll test to see if the engine's going to turn over or not. And this will give us a good fair indication of how much work we've got in store for ourselves today. Okay, first things first, I love these front forward-facing bonnets. We have got to see if, what do we got? We've got an earth. Well, that looks promising. Those hoops are a bit big for the battery I bought, but oh well. We rung what we brung, and that should be the positive. Also looking good. Oh, I didn't check. Oh, thank God. I was going to say, I didn't check if this car had keys, but it does. So we should be able to see if we're getting power or not. All right, so we got our little battery here that we stole from the Ace, and looks like we'll be able to get away with this because the wiring's not too bad. Only problem is, it's quite a large problem. These hoops are gigantic and do not fit on at all. In fact, I'm going to say, I did bring, because I had this inkling, got connectors here, which are bloody small. Also going to be a little difficult, but we'll see if we can get these somehow connected up. Oh, Jesus, they're a little bit too small. But hey, this is all we got. What do we need? Probably not more than a 10. What we got here? A 13. Yep. And over here we got it looks like a 10. Yep. So more or less, these connectors do fit on our battery, but I've got to find one way of... I'm not going to be doing a full rewiring or crimping or anything. That's a bit out of my ability right now. Oh, where's my hammer? Coming out. I don't think I brought my wire. Damn it, it's meant to bring that. Okay. I don't know if that's going to hold, but we'll see. Tell you what I did do wrong though, is I just put the negative on the positive, because they're different sizes. Yeah. Oh, we have spark. Way too much spark because the battery's around. I thought I was doing this. Oh, that was loose and that came straight off. Batteries are wrong size terminals. It's just the small one that lying around, so I'm just trying to do some cowboy shit. Well, we'll see if that goes. Oh. Yeah. Just, You know, I've been in worse, which is saying something. Yeah, as grotty and smelly as it is in here, not too bad. Doesn't smell like a dead dog. Moment of truth. We have one Fiat car key. Will she work? Did you see that? Hey, we've got lights. Barely. But, let's see if you can. I'll get you in here to have a look. Look at that. We've got a battery light and we've got a fuel light. So we're low on fuel, and the fog lights. The light. Oh, that was going. It's now turned itself off. All of these were going. Oh, there we go. And you just gotta, not too sure about that. A window wiper button. I haven't had one of those for ages. But yeah, we've got, I don't know if we've got much else. Don't seem to have indicators. Oh, we do, weirdly. This is classic old car stuff. Where was that the lights? Now, which one of these was the, I did start it up and I saw the window wipers make a jump. But I'm not actually sure. Well, that's the fan. Not actually sure how to get them going. Oh, well, that works. Horn works. So that's good. We've got good power. What we will need to do is check the spark. But before we do that, I think we should see, turn this off so we don't go flat. I think we should see if, get in there, you mongrel. Go on. What are you doing? Go on. Oh, really? Really? Here we go. I think we should see if the engine will turn over. Otherwise, what's the point of checking the spark plugs? All right, let's get to it. Okay. Don't you love these bonnets and boots lids? They're fantastic, aren't they? Now, if I'm not mistaken, this should be similar to a 500 and come off. Oh. Just needs 5 big whacks. Oh. Now we have much easier access. Whoa. Lose my balance. Alright, so I think the crank is in there. So that is the alternator generator, something like that. A magnetic Morelli? I don't know. I really want to turn that over, but can I get a socket on that? I'm not sure, but it would have been nice if I could, but we've got the alternative pulley turner over. Oh, well, that's quite loose. That's not taking much effort. Now, do we have compression? Oh, it's not in gear, is it? Oh. Okay, it was in gear, which wasn't helping things, but... Oh, there we go. I can hear compression. So I tell you what, I think we're good. This is free. It's freed up. What if we just start it up? Give it a try. See if she'll turn over. It's the worst that could happen. Where's my fire extinguisher? You let me know if anything blows up, if there's any smoke or anything. I don't have my fire extinguisher in here with me, so hopefully there's no fires. Oh. It does go. That's turning over for sure. Oh, how good. How good is that? So she's turning. So she's potentially a-working. Oh, I can smell, definitely smell old fumes being kicked out of there. Yeah, I think awesome. Next thing, how about we check those spark plugs? So in the Fiat 126, quite like the 500, we've got quite a simple air-cooled engine here, and it's got 2 cylinders, both on the same stroke. One fires and the other fires. It's 1 and 2, just either side of the carb. This one, we've got half the stuff removed already, so it shouldn't be too hard to get to. So we'll be able to pull these out. We'll have to look for a good ground. Now, most of this is pretty rusty. One thing I was meant to bring was my wire brush, so I forgot to bring that. So it's going to be much more difficult, but it would have been easier if we could have brushed down some of this rusty metal to make sure that we've got a good contact. However, I think we should be fine. So let's get to pulling these spark plugs out. Alright. Now hopefully this is long enough. I do have a longer one of these, but did I bring it? You betcha I didn't. Oi! Not too bad actually. Had worse, like getting out of the Subaru Ace was a lot worse. Now, it's a bit wet, but it might be just from turning over the engine just before. This fuel pump might actually be working because that smells like bad fuel. But can you see that? It's a little wet, but like I said, we just turned that over, and that might be fresh. Well, not so fresh, fresh old fuel. So what we'll want to do is test if we've got spark, because it is quite common to have spark issues in these cars. After a certain amount of time, the coil, the leads, the distributor, the points in it will and does fail. But last I knew, this car was running, so hopefully it's still a kicking. What I might do in the meantime is, I really should have, it might be fine, I'll grab a rag, is I will disconnect the fuel, because I don't want to be just chucking a whole bunch of fuel in there when we're not trying to kick it over. So I probably should have done that already. Let's grab an old dirty rag, but it does look like it was off and there's no clamp on it. So he might have been right with his inkling about the fuel pump was looked at, but whether it was fixed or not is another story. In fact, it's all bone dry, so I don't know where that wetness on the spark plug has come from, which is more of the issue. Unless there was old fuel sitting in here that's just been sucked in, or sitting in the car, but that should be all good. I would say this one's in better condition, but what we have a little bit of, so I'm going to show you, a little bit of green corrosion on the top there. Otherwise it's not looking too bad. Black and sooty but dry, not loving the corrosion. Yeah, apart from that, you can see that these have been sitting here for a fair while on the outside, but they look all good to me. What are these? BP6HS. Now what I did buy, because it basically uses one of these two, I did buy some spare spark plugs just in case these were completely shot, which might be helpful considering the state that each of these two are in. But I've got BP7HS. Now when I looked it up, both should work just fine. And if I knew what was in it, I'd probably replace it with the same ones. But I took my guess and it should still run, because they're very similar, but most of the time replacing like for like is always best. Like any old car, especially a Fiat, just covered in oil already. What I do want is a good earth connection. Maybe there's a good spot. And what I do want to be able to see is if we get a good spark. Now it's going to be a bit hard with the key up the front of the car. And I'm not sure if jump starting the starter motor will give us a chance to see this, but scratch this in here. Hopefully there's some good earthing in there somewhere. And you watch this while I give the car a little tickle. And of course, because I was playing around with the focus, all of that was fuzzy, but you should be able to see it now. How did that look? Alright, so we've hit our first snag in that we don't have spark. Now, it can be a few things that cause this, and don't really want to deal with any of them. But first things first, I think we need to check that we're getting... Well, let's see if we've got spark in the points. It's a bit dark in there, but hopefully I can get it set up. because you are my eyes. Without you, I can't see anything because I'm up the front turning over the engine. Maybe unless I'm not as familiar with the starter motor, but we'll worry about that if I really get desperate. So, I mean, just looking at the Dizzy cap here, it is a wee bit worn in there, but not too bad. What is not so great is these leads are a little bit, maybe it's just the covers. The leads themselves actually look fine, just this one's got a split and they're a little grimy. But they actually do look alright. What about this one? Oh, that was a bit grindy. That one's definitely the worst, but it's still not too bad. It's just these yellow covers. So I think as long as we can make sure these are seated well, that should hopefully not be the problem. And hopefully the same on the coil end. I'll pull it off, why don't I? And yeah, pretty similar. There, so as long as the coil is operational, which hopefully it should be, let's look at these points, because that's the next most likely common. Because I've got no spark with the old spark plugs, and I threw on a new spark plug and we also had no spark. So, it's probably not the spark plug itself. Alright, so that was turning over around fine, and if we look at it, it's not too bad. It's a little uneven, a little worn out, but not too bad, I don't think. What's the inside look like? Yeah, but for as little as I know, it looks all good. Now, what we got in there is the points. Now they are, if I can get my finger in here and show you, right down there. And I think I got the battery, oh no, I've turned the battery off, I think. But basically, as that rotates around, there's a little doodacky in there which opens and closes the points here. That's what creates the spark that sends it through the spark leads. So we're not getting any spark in the leads, so we'll check here for our next problem. Now the annoying thing here is I'm not getting spark, and I could sandpaper the points. Now it's a little hard to work on here at the moment, but I suppose I could do it, but I might just have to change the camera angle quite a bit, maybe use the GoPro. But I could either work on it in the car. I don't really want to pull it out and test and work on it because I don't want to mess up the timing. Now I could set it up. I think I know how to do it more or less. There's the timing pin down here, get that lined up, pull this out, make sure it goes back in the same spot. But yeah, I'd rather not do that, so if I can tie this up in the car, that'll be better. Now, so I think I have sort of shorted this with the battery on, and we were getting little sparkies, so I think the coil is fine. It is delivering power here just fine, but we're not getting the spark. So I've got 240 grit, it's the whatever I had lying around, and what I want to do is give those points a little clean up. So hopefully I can just do it from this angle and she'll be good to go. Otherwise I have to pull it out. Now I have seen many people pull these apart and work on them. I'm just not so confident myself. I think if I just unscrewed it and unscrewed that, this would come out, but I just cannot remember. Do I risk pulling it apart in the car, or I'll just try and give it a clean up first. Hopefully that did something, and let's see if she's going to spark up now. I'm not sure if I'm shorting that or if it's actually sparking. Alright, so it looks like we're a little bit up the creek without a paddle at the moment, and we're not getting any spark. And just been trying to test one or two of the wires. Yeah, so we are got a connection here, but the problem lies in, I think we've got a bit of a short, because if we open up the points, we're not losing. So the points open there, open, close, open, close, open, close. Ooh. It will turn off if I open it too far and I'm shorting it on the back of the dizzy. But open, open, close, open, close, open, close. Nothing's really happening there, which makes me think we might have a bit of a connection issue in the wiring. All in all though, this is pushing it past sort of my expertise and knowledge to do in such a short amount of time, which is a right old bugger. Oh, is that the oil stick? Yeah, oil stick. Have we got oil? We got oil. Looks yummy and black. But yeah, so I think one thing we can do is we can try and pull this out and have a quick look at it, see if there's anything obviously wrong. If not, prognosis is not looking good for getting out of here today. And the owners just come and told me that he needs this out in the next 2 hours because there are people coming over in this car and we have to be gone. So I think we'll quickly pull this out, have a look at it, and then we've got to make a quick call of whether this is recoverable or not. Well, I'm not entirely convinced that I can see anything wrong with it. Not to my untrained eye, which is a bit of a problem because I don't have a spare distributor. So about the only other trick I can try is I do have a spare coil. So I can switch over the coil and see if that makes any difference. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long walk pushing this car home.
Yo voy a cantar esta canción para mi gente, con una pasión tan fuerte.
Okay, I did bring these. I wasn't planning on doing any wiring, but maybe because these connectors are different to those connectors. What I need, I don't know that I've got any of the right ones. Bugger, none of these are correct. Oh, that's a right pain. What I really was hoping for was one of these that had one of these flat bits on the end, but it does not look like I've got those, so I'm a bit out of luck here today, guys. Well, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to get this up and running today because I don't have the tools or some of the know-how on fixing this in the next hour. So I think what that means for me is I've got a bit of a long walk home right now, so I better start pushing this, otherwise we're never going to make it before the sun goes down.
Still going, mate. Touch right. You right to push? I just need a little bit of
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
yeah, this side I've got a few more centimetres. You're touching?
Oh, yeah, it's right.
Yeah. Let's get there. Alright. Yeah.
I'm going to run over the camera. Alright. It's done.
Well, the sun is officially setting, but the Fiat is out. It's not quite alive yet, but we rescued it. We found it buried under a blanket of time. We fought with it, we won a few battles, lost some others, but the war goes on, at least for today. This was never about a perfect restoration. This was a rescue mission. It was about proving that even after years of sitting abandoned, the soul of this little machine was still in there, just waiting and hoping. And now, the real journey can finally begin. If you want to see what happens next with this little Italian survivor, getting the engine firing on all cylinders, fixing the fuel system for good, overhauling the entire brake system, and tackling all that rust, make sure you subscribe to the channel to turn on notifications. You are not going to want to miss this next chapter of this Fiat story. Thanks for coming along for this wild ride. We'll see you on the next one.
Ooh, that's tiring.